So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if we're going to actually get a Jay Campbell sighting tonight or not. I thought it was a little bit aggressive for him to fly to Atlanta and then get into his hotel and get on the air at 10 p.m. But he said he wanted to do it, and we won't hold out. We won't lose hope, but we won't hold out and hold our breath until then either, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see what happens. And of course, Jay last night on the show, was it last night? Talked about read David Icke's book, Children of the Corn. It wasn't Children of the Corn. It was Children of the Matrix. Mystery, did you drive out to the desert? I know you were talking about driving out there. And I just wondered, I was just talking to someone saying that I thought you were going to drive out there. I know there's some folks from Pasco that are flying out there. But, yeah, I just wondered if Mystery was out there or was on her way out there. Should be a good time, should be an interesting time, should be a fun time. And Derek did a little preview today, and he's got that satellite thing working out there. I'm shocked. So it's working, and it looks like there will be at least some live programming out there. I think most of it will probably wind up being uploaded, and that's okay. We're flying from Wiki Wachi. Oh, there's Kimmy Moss right there, flying from Wiki Wachi. Now, there's not an airport at Wiki Wachi. Do you have to come all the way down to Tampa? Or can you actually fly out of Wiki Wachi? Yeah, Children of the Corn Matrix. That's what it was, something just like that. Ashley Gypsy, nice to see you. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Let's see who all is in here. Let's see, Jackie G, Francis Smith, who already got a message deleted from Tracy before the show even started. Jama, Tracy, Shannon, Robert USN Vet, third generation. I will get my book on Friday, the David Icke book. Lori Chavez, Shannon King, Robert USN Vet, third generation. I only know my name, 57. Bodacious Transformation, who I think is Vicky. She can't get it to change off of Bodacious Transformation. Shannon King, Joseph H., Eric Guffey, World's Lost, Crystal, Donna Keys, and yes, go ahead and hit the like button if you like, please. Sterling, Mac Remembrance, anyway, it's Sterling. I never can say his name, I'm not sure why. John Cynical, Diane Rodriguez, Nigel, World's Lost, I think I already said. Jean, or Jeannie, I'm not sure. I think it's Jean. There's no I in there. Jason Graham, nice to see you, mate. We can ask questions. Oh, Jeffrey Darty's in the chat room as well. And Alana, nice to see you. Daniel Jonathan. Kimmy Moss, who we already talked about, flying out to the desert. I'll see you in a couple of days. Well, in a few days. Glenn McLean, Gaelical O'Brien. Now, that's a great YouTube name. I don't think I've seen you before. And if it is your first time here, very nice to see you. And if you've been here before and haven't noticed you, well, I apologize, but we have a few people coming in here and out of here. Airy Dragon or Air Dragon, nice to see you. Lisa Marie. Twilly Mist, who's very nice, says that, I'll just read it. I must say, Jeff, I kind of walked away for a while on the stuff you offer on YouTube. I'll forgive you for that. And seeing you now, transformed, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. You look so much lighter in more ways than one, brighter and joyous. It's beautiful. Keep it up. That's because I've had such an easy life since you went away. Everything's great. Since the topic is David Icke, I recommend that you read The Children of the Matrix. That would be a good one. Anti-Popular Girl says that she sees turbulence soon. Why are you harshing my buzz, Anti-Popular Girl? I don't know I just don't know. I don't buy it. I'm reprogramming this matrix, and I'm saying no, it's not going to happen. Wayne Steiger doing comedy just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. I'm sorry. Doesn't seem like a good idea to me. Jeff, you are a live stream from on high. Oh, thank you. Who else? Wayne Newton. I've actually been in Wayne Newton's house. That's kind of odd. My daughter has the same name, but not because of his daughter. Okay, I gotcha. I want to go to the desert. Anyone else on the East Coast? Well, your time's running out. It starts on the 29th, ladies and gentlemen. It starts on the 29th. Kent Nichols, Kathy Emma, Kilgore Trout. He's on page 100 of the book that we were talking about last night. Rocker Chick, good to see you. Shannon King, Will Martinez, Gary Rosenquist, Shadow Spirit, Ashley Gypsy, again, Ultraviolet, nice to see you. Ann Foster, Max Vision Remote View, this right here. And Supernatural, nice to see you. Still can't believe you don't have that tattoo. So it doesn't look like Mr. Campbell's going to make an appearance, but if you have any questions, let's go ahead and throw out questions first. Thank you for the kiss, Shannon. Put them in all caps, and we will rock through those. And then we're going to, looks like we're going to do sigils. I did a sigil for David Icke is going to be on my channel. And I'll show you how I did that sigil. And I'll show you how you can do your sigils. And we'll give Jay maybe another 5 minutes if anybody has any questions. And if not, we're just going to rock right into that. And that'll be interesting. I've been thinking about doing that anyway. I've done it before, but it's been quite a long time. Kilgore Trout's in Orlando. Air Dragon had a question. Well, hit me with it. All caps, if you please, for your questions. I like Ike. That's really good. Really good. We got Maryland. We got Delaware. It's a long way to Arizona, ladies and gentlemen. I'll never put a tattoo on this Mercedes. You go, Jama. I like it. I don't think I will either. I'll never do it. What's a sigil? Well, you're probably going to find out. I've never been timed out before. It's a unique experience. South Carolina. And happy Thanksgiving Eve to all of you. I hope that you'll practice some type of control tomorrow, not make yourselves sick. It'll be a good day, hopefully. And remember, we're not going to go in and we're not going to talk about The Last Stand. We're not going to talk about, same to you, Ultraviolet. We're not going to talk about, reptilians and things like that. We're just going to be cool. We're going to try to make amends. We're going to be the better person, the bigger person. We're going to try to do what we can to make amends to everybody. Do I know about Saturn's sigil? I don't think so. And we're going to just be decent people tomorrow, and we're going to try to have some fun. Holy moly, Jeff, I'm Rex's mod. I scared off the guests full on. No, Amanda, you would be a draw. You're delightful. Nice to see you. Nice to have you here. And since you mentioned that, why isn't Amanda be a moderator? Well, now she is, because we need some more help. Northern Maine. I'll bet it is chilly in Northern Maine. Jeffrey T. Kirk. I like that. Thank you so much. If you didn't see the show earlier today about, what was that called? It was called Don't Believe the No-Win Scenario, Kobayashi Maru and the Truther Community. It's going to get me in trouble, but it's something that has to be said, and I think it's something that you will really enjoy. You'll really enjoy. I'm not sure who Rex's guest is. David's The Moon Matrix is really, really good. So let's go ahead and roll in and talk about how to make sigils, ladies and gentlemen. And let's talk about why you'd want to make a sigil, first of all. The reason why you'd want to make a sigil is because, like, let's just take this example. I'm going to walk you through. How many gallons of water would a person need per day? Well, if you're just drinking it, I drink at least a gallon of water a day myself. So, but let's say I have this intention that I'm manifesting, that David Icke is going to be on this channel. So that's my manifestation. That's my intention. I'm going to manifest it, and I'm going to use a sigil to help focus and empower my manifestation. And that's what sigils do. They help focus intention. They help give intention, and by focusing it, they give it more power, they give it more strength, and they give it more likelihood of coming true. My first sigil was when I said, I'm going to be on Coast to Coast AM in the next 6 months. And I made a sigil, and I posted it, and I watched it. And I do put sigils on candles too, Sterling. And lo and behold, within about 2 months, 3 months, in fact, I was on Coast to Coast AM, I think twice in 6 months. So that's how good the sigil worked. So let me show you since we don't have any Jay Campbell, I ordered the David Icke book, and what's it called? It's called Everything You Needed to Know But Have Never Been Told. I'll get it Friday. A lot of people are ordering it. I know Tracy and Robert, I was noticing in the pre-show chat, already have the book, and I'm very looking forward to getting it. And I'll show you, Marcia, what you do. And Jay read 2 more chapters on his way to Atlanta. So he's been very, very moved by it. And that's why he called me and said, we have to do an emergency broadcast. But of course, you know, things happen when you're traveling, and there you go. So let's go ahead and talk about, and I'm going to do this. And, you know, I understand Supernatural's being nice. I know Jay was being nice about giving out the PDF, but I feel bad doing that to David Icke, because I know he's trying to sell some books and put some new shoes on his baby's feet. So I have a little bit of a moral issue giving out the free PDF. So please don't post that in the chat room, because I'd rather not give out the free PDF, because, you know, I'm an author, and that's kind of, I don't know. Justin, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. I'm not trying to put my morality on you, but I just feel more comfortable if we don't do that in this chat right now, okay? Because I think that, you know, Mr. Icke, the book just got published this year, so let a brother make a little bit of money, okay? Because, you know, I'm not going to say it, but yeah, let's stay away from that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to share this. I'm going to share my whiteboard, and I'm going to show you how to make a sigil. David Icke is 78, Jeff. No time to spend millions. Well, he could probably try. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a whiteboard. So let me do this whiteboard, and we'll show you how to make sigils. And if Jay does show up, he's going to learn how to make sigils, isn't he? So we're going to go to text first, and we're going to make it, what color should we make it? Let's make it blue. And we'll make it big. And we'll make it bold. And we're going to do this right here. We're going to do, my sigil was my intention. And you could, whatever, so you decide what your intention is going to be. What do you want? I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get a date. I'm going to, you know, whatever you want. Mine was David Icke is going, let me move this out so I can make it, so I can get the whole thing on here. David Icke is going to be on my channel. I wish I could have fit it all on one line, but looks like we're not going to be able to do it at that size. Okay, so anyway, David Icke is going to be on my channel. That's my intention. And I'm going to reduce that statement to a sigil that's going to help me focus the intention of this statement and make it come true more. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write out our intention. David Icke is going to be on my channel. Okay? Now, the second thing we're going to do is we're going to take out all of the vowels. So we're going to take out the A, we're going to take out the I, we're going to take out this I, because we're taking out A, E, I, O, U's, and Y's. We're going to take out all of the vowels. We're getting rid of all of the vowels. We're getting rid of all of the vowels. I get rid of the Y's too, because they're vowels, you know, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. So you get rid of all the vowels. So David Icke is going to be on my channel. Looks like this. And then you're going to take and you're going to remove all of the repeating letters. So there's a D. There's only going to be one D. There's a V. There's only going to be one V. Here's another D. So I'm going to take it out. There's a C. I'm only going to leave one C. So I'll go take this other C out. There's only going to be one K. Good, we're good on K. There's only going to be one S. We're good on S. There's only going to be one G. We got to remove this G. There's only going to be one N. So we got to go ahead and remove this N. And we got to go ahead and remove these N's. Okay, there's only going to be one T, so we're good on T's. There's only going to be one B, so we're good on B's. There's only going to be one M, we're good on M's. There's only going to be one H, we're good on H's. E slipped through. Remember, we're supposed to remove vowels. And then an L. So David Icke is going to be on my channel. Now looks like Divsik Eskentibit M'ul. Almost sounds like Klingon. So there you go. That's what you're left with. And now it gets to be subjective. Now is where you get to be a little bit creative. Let's go back in the chat room just for a minute and see what everybody's thinking. Jeff, the E at the end by the L, yeah. Per Care St. Louis, who works for David Icke for years and very good, says he's a millionaire. You know what? We don't need to do that. And so what if he is? Let's pull that out of there. I just don't want that in there. Yep. I know I did miss that E. That's all right. I'll get there. Okay, so just to check real quick and see if Jay showed up. Dude, I'm not going to be able to tell. Jay, if you're there, you're going to have to hit me on my phone. Okay, so this is what we're left with. And now it gets a little bit subjective because you've got to reduce this to 3, maybe 4 letters. I like to reduce it to 3. So me, I'm going to leave the D for David Icke. And I'm going to leave just D for David Icke. And I'm going to leave a G for, what did I leave? I had a D, an H, and a T. I ended up with a D, an H, and a T. So I took all of these and I reduced them all to a D, an H, and a T. That's just what hit me. You can do it whatever you want. And remember, it is carrying your intention. So I ended up with a D, an H, and a T. For David Icke is going to be on my channel. That's what I wound up with. D, T, H. Isn't it? I'm looking at the one I put on my board. Yeah, D, T, H. Yeah, that's what I ended up with. D, T, H. So to me, David Icke is going to be on my channel is reduced to D, T, H. And that's really not that important. Oops. I messed it up again. It's really not that important because, again, it is your intention. It's not super important. I just want to see if Jay was here. It's not super important what you wind up with. Now comes the interesting part because now you get to be an artist. And with that DTH, you're going to draw something that represents that to you. And let me give you an example, folks. We're going to go up here and stop the share for a minute. And I'm going to show you just on YouTube example of what some people do for sigils. And we're just going to go to images. And this gives you an idea of what some people do when they make sigils. So this gives you an idea that it's completely creative. You know, these are sigils. This is a sigil. This is a sigil. That's a sigil. These are sigils. There's no rules. It's just whatever. You know, I usually make a lot of them that look like this, that look, you know, really curly and fancy. My first one for this kind of was curly fancy, but then I got more Enochian on it, and I'll show you what mine ended up with. But yeah, these are sigils. So your sigil, there's no rules. Your sigil can look like whatever you want it to look like. So that's kind of the idea of a sigil. So with me, I drew this into a sigil. And this is what, and I don't know how this is going to work because I have to try to draw this freehand for you. But DTH became this. And let me see, draw. Let's see how I'm going to be able to do this. Well, let's make it a thick line. And let's see if I can do this. This is what my sigil became. And I don't know how I'm going to do this, but my sigil became this. No, that's not it. Let me undo. Let me format. I want a big, thick line. And let's make it red. Okay, I like red. And I got a thick line, and I think that'll do it. And let's do draw. So let's see. Let's do a, is that a line or that's an arrow? Let's do this. So this is what my sigil came out as. No, that is not what I want. Folks, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Oh, okay, line. All right. And I got it. Do I have it thick and stuff? Let's make sure. I got it thick. I got it red. And let's do a draw and let's do a line. Okay, so here we go. This is what my David Icke sigil turned out to be. This is going to be a little bit choppy, but you'll get the idea. Oops. It's not supposed to have that bend in it, but you get it. So to me, this is David Icke is going to be on my channel. And again, this is supposed to be straight, but I'm not going to change it for that. That to me is David Icke is going to be on my channel. And you can see the D, you can see the T, and you can see the H, or maybe the T's right here. I don't know, but I just wanted to get a little fancy. So that is David Icke is going to be on my channel. And I've got that posted on my whiteboard. I'll draw it on my mirror in the bathroom. I'll draw it on a mirror I have in the living room. I'll draw it on a piece of paper and I'll carry it around in my wallet. Some people prefer to look at it for a while and then put it away. I don't subscribe to that theory. I want to see it. I want to manifest it. And every time I see it, I want to be thinking about it and manifesting it. So there are some differences of opinions on how you do a sigil, but that's the way I do them. That's a simple sigil. And, you know, let me just say this. I know I'm going to piss some of you off. Do not do blood over intent. That is the stupidest thing you can do. Do not put your blood on these sigils, or I didn't have anything to do with it. Now, if you want to use manifestations from other fluids that we've talked about, well, that's up to you, but don't use your blood. That takes it to a whole different place that you don't want to go to, trust me. You don't want to get blood sacrifice involved. You don't want to take your intent and put blood on it and get it into some other realm. So don't do that. I shouldn't even have never mentioned it, but I know someone was probably going to ask it or think, oh, let me do that. No, don't do it. So that's how you make a sigil, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you make a sigil. I don't think we're going to get Jay tonight. So let's go back in the chat room and let's talk about these sigils. And let's talk about how to make these sigils. And I'm going to answer questions, and I'll go, what other fluids? Let your mind wander, Jama. Don't use the other body fluid that Obama would have used anyway. Here, yeah, anyway. Why? Because you don't want to use blood. It takes it into the realm of sacrifice. It takes it into the realm of the rat bastard, and you just don't want to do it. It is an ancient technique. Handkerchief back in the day, put this on them. That might be an interesting idea. It is super powerful. This is magic. Yes, it is. It is directed intention. Magic does run the world. It is like a logo. Absolutely. Everything is magic. I drew one a year ago, not understanding what I was drawing. I believe it was meant for protection after the fallout. I want Jeff to see it. You can send it to me, newcosmicknowledge@gmail.com. Corporate logos are mostly sigils. Yes, they will. David Icke will be on the Jeffrey Darty channel. Kid called me Klingons. Oh, my. I am a thousandaire. If not, a board, a piece of paper, and a pad of paper. Yes, you can draw it on paper. My first one I drew on paper. I didn't have a board then. But I like to write them on my windows because you can erase them off of windows as long as you're using a, a dry erase marker. I write it on mirrors a lot. So those are things that work for me. You want to keep this intention out in front of you. This is fascinating, says Twilight Mist. Twilight Mist, yeah. I used to write this way when I was a child, leaving messages for myself, all in consonants. Was I instinctively trying to do this? I'll bet you were. I will bet you were. Get that E out of here. We did. We will manifest David Icke. We'll do it together. Absolutely. David Icke would say technology and science is twisting reality to enslave us deeper. He probably would. Good deal. And we'll see if we missed any questions down here at the bottom. Pen and paper, mouse, sigils can be powerful, says Nigel. Check out the British BT logo, British Telecom. It has a snake in it. I don't see the reason to use bodily fluid. Well, then don't use it. It's a little thing that is called sexual magic. Enough blood spilled in this world. I agree with you, Catherine. Hat trick is magic. What are they for? Never heard of it. You'll have to go back to the beginning. Daniel, I can't do the whole show over again, but we're focusing our intention. We're directing our intention to manifest what we want to bring into reality. And Icke says that she or he lets the pendulum paint theirs. Well, if that works for you, that wouldn't work for me, because I want my intention on that thing, and I want to know that, I want to know that my pendulum, that my, I want to know that that this is my David Icke is going to be on my channel. I want my D, my T, and my H, and if my pendulum didn't draw that, I would not be happy. But I mean, you could just as easily, just want to let you guys know, I mean, this could have just as easily been, and the first one I had was somewhat like this. This could just as easily be, here's a D. And how did I have it? I think that has to go all the way through to make the H. Yeah, a D. And then I had, then I think I just had it like this. I think this was like my first sigil was kind of like this. Because there's, your D, your T, and your H. So the first one was sort of like that one. So they can be any way that you like them to be. They can be the loop-de-doo ones, or they can be the more Enochian, more linear ones. If for some reason I went for the Enochian one with this sigil, and that's what that's it, and I'm sticking to it, and that's the way it's going to be. But you can do whatever you want. They're your sigils. It's focusing your intention, and I've used it to great success. In fact, yeah, Francis, it is. I have never used a sigil that it did not work with remarkable rapidity. Every time I've done a sigil, it has worked, and it has worked right now. So I recommend it. I recommend it. How does that play into free will? I don't understand your question, Ultraviolet. My free will is deciding, David Icke's free will? Well, if he doesn't want to come on, he's not going to come on. But I'm sure that David Icke is a guy that loves to talk about what he talks about. He's on tours, and I'm sure I've something about, for some reason, I think that David Icke likes to help people that, are little. He likes to help the little people like me. And I mean, let's face it. Is my making a sigil going to override David Icke's will and make him say, I must go on Jeff Darty's show. I must go. I must go. No, but my making a sigil is going to put that out there into the ether. And one of these times when David Icke is standing at the urinal or eating some chips, he's going to start thinking, I haven't been on a YouTube show in a while. And then there's an email going to show up, or Rocky Stucci is going to contact him, or his friend that was in the chat room yesterday is going to say, hey, this guy, and it's going to catch him at the right time. We're just putting the intention into effect, and we're putting the intention out there. So the power of my will is going to merge and emerge onto Mr. Icke's will at the right time. And he's going to be on the show as Rocky Stucci, right on time, Rocky, unlike Scotty. Rocky is always right on time. Good to see you, brother. And I don't know, Rocky, if you saw the David Icke's going to be in my channel sigil or not, but there it is. David Icke is going to be on my channel. That is my sigil. And I guess if you're a circle person, you could put a circle around it. I'm not really that person, but you could certainly do it if you want. It's your sigil. Knock yourself out. I wouldn't recommend that you literally knock yourself out, but you know what I mean. So that's how I do it. And it works for me, and it's worked for me every single time. Turkey Day, Rocky, we said no to the show tomorrow night. I'm still open to do it, but I think Scotty being home and, you know, not being home all the time, he thought better of it, and I can certainly understand that. What is Twilight Mist saying? So we can use this to create a law that makes corporations acting against a person illegal, and any actions that they take against humanity a crime. That's going to be like a big sigil. That's going to be a big sigil. But I'm not going to tell you you can't make one for that. You can make a sigil for any intention that you want to empower. You can do it. I don't want to have to make that one. I always call Scotty Rocky. I know. They're connected in my head. It's two peas in a pod, Rocky Stucci and Scotty Roberts. One tall pea and one short pea, but they are in the same pod, at least in my head. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you make a sigil. And it will help you. It will intensify and empower your will. Oh, I see somebody else in the chat room. I see somebody else on this. Oh, it looks like it might be Jay Campbell coming in from Hot Atlanta. Let's see if it is Jay Campbell. It's Jay Campbell. He looks like he's in Costco.
I am in a Kroger.
Well, obviously, you're not going to do the show from Kroger, right?
No, I'm definitely not going to do the show from Kroger, but I wanted to tell you that I will try. I'm going to be at my hotel in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
How long have you been on?
I've been on for about 32 minutes. I just showed everybody how to make sigils.
Oh, very, very nice. Hold on, I'm going to turn around so you can see Monica. So you know, I'm not lying. Hold on.
Let's say hello to Monica. There she is. Hi, Monica.
Yeah, they're live right now.
What up,
Hi,
Jeff?
Monica. How you doing?
Hi there, Jeff.
Hello there. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving.
From Kroger, Georgia.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Georgia. I just wanted to show you that I would be there. Give me like 5 or 10 minutes and I'll jump on the show. I'll come back.
All righty. We'll hang out a little bit then.
Okay, cool. I'll see you in a minute.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. So, ladies and gentlemen, a Jay Campbell sighting. Oh, look at that picture. Isn't that a sexy picture? I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but that's Jay looking all put together. So, Jay Campbell sighting live from Kroger somewhere in the Atlanta, Georgia area. And I don't know how to kill 10 minutes. I've already made this sigil. What am I going to do now? Somebody said Wayne was going to start a Friday night comedy. Oh, that has bad idea written all over it to me. Bad idea written all over it to me. But I don't know. Who am I to say? And Tracy, I don't know if you want to fill in some more details on that, but what if we do want to affect one another's free will? Go ahead and ask questions and I'll address them. What if we want to affect others' free will? I don't know if that's such a great idea to affect another person's free will. Now, you can do it, but that gets into what we call a little thing called black magic. Now, Vince Proctor, how crazy is this? I thought I saw Jay Campbell at Kroger an hour ago in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. I had to take a double take. Well, he wasn't there, Vince, but that's really interesting. Now, we can, ladies and gentlemen, override other people's intention. I wouldn't recommend it because, as CM Kotarski puts it, it'll bite you in the ass. And CM is she's in my area. So, yeah, I thought you were going to create a dating channel. We could create a dating channel. We could put Plenty of Fish out of business. We could call it Plenty of Cousins. Do you do one sigil at a time? Yeah, I don't know how I do more than one at a time. I just do one at a time. White magic is pulling to you. Black magic is pushing away or ridding. I would define black magic as overriding the will of another individual. But then again, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. If you are doing magic to heal someone, are you not overriding the intention of the entity that's causing the disease? Are you not overriding the intention of the entity that wants to keep that person sick? So in reality, even a lot of white magic is black magic. So you get into this moral gray area, and you just have to get to the place where you are comfortable with it. And it reminds me of one time with my youngest daughter. I was dream walking her, and I was about to drop this idea into her mind that was break up with the guy that would become her first husband, that would become her first divorce. And I didn't do it. And I almost wish I would have, because then maybe she'd have broken up with him and she wouldn't be had to go through the problems that she went through. But I didn't do it because I didn't want to override her will, her intention, and I didn't want that black magic voodoo to boomerang on me. My hypnosis experience, I'm a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming. I am a certified Ericksonian hypnotist. I have several psychology courses under my belt, both in the baccalaureate and in the undergraduate or in the associate level arena. I basically bastardized several systems and came up with my own system that I call LIFETRACK analysis, where I go back over your life, help you put let your analytical mind be in charge and your reactive mind be subjugated. So you get your blink 100% dialed in. You get what I call the comforter activation, which is you get all of everything that the father, the mother wants you to have, the Christ wants you to have, and you also get a connection to the divine database. So that's my hypnosis experience. What was my favorite sermon? Believe it or not, I had a sermon that was called This One Thing I Do. I preached it all over the world, literally. It took off on Paul saying, I have not yet apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind. I press on towards the mark of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. And I would preach the hell out of that, ladies and gentlemen. That was probably my favorite sermon that I used to do. White magic is pulling, black magic is pushing. That's an interesting way to put it. Way ahead of you, bro, says Think Simply, and kind of way ahead of you, bro. I'm not sure what that means. That sounds a little bitchy to me, but that's okay. I was just going to say plenty of cousins. There you go, Nigel. Great minds. Great minds. Can you use a sigil to find a new career? Absolutely. Absolutely you can. I will find my new career. New cosmic dating. I like it. I don't do plenty. Black magic whiteboard. Ooh, perfect. Jason, nice turn of phrase. I love it. I'm in the Ozarks. Plenty of cousins here has different connotation. Well, I'm in Florida and all my people are from Kentucky and Tennessee. So we get that connotation, Tracy. I get it. Technically, we're all imposing on each other's free will based on energy frequencies we hold. What do you think influence or persuasion is? Your energetic stream overriding? Absolutely. I agree. Isn't one energy always overriding the other? I think so, Ultraviolet. Angela was just watching David Icke. I mean, what is dating? You ask a girl out once and she says no. Do you just walk away and hang your head? Some of you do. That's when, the dance doesn't start till somebody says no, ladies and gentlemen. And that is energetic exchange, isn't it? Oh my, probably why I'm single, right? I always wondered what the idea you wanted to drop was. I'm not sure what that means. If you believe in a curse, does it mean it won't affect you? If you don't, absolutely. Absolutely. If you don't believe in a curse, it won't affect you. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Why is voodoo so woo-woo? I don't know. Rocker Chick, please help me understand how a sigil is not wrong as a follower of Christ. Isn't practicing magic tied to sorcery? Alice Cooper, are you serious right now, or are you just kind of messing with me? Are you messing with me? The Christ was probably the greatest magician that ever stepped foot on planet Earth, if he stepped foot on planet Earth. Yeah. What do you think Christ was doing? How do you think he turned water into wine? How do you think he got fools up out of a grave? How do you think that he disappeared in one place and appeared in another place? How do you think he did all the stuff that he did, yo? That brother was magic with a K. And he said, as you think in your heart, so are you. And he said, not only will you do the things that I've done, but you're going to do greater things than I've done. Dude, Allison, Dudette, the Christ was a serious magician. Are you kidding me? You need to let go of these little religious words like sorcery and wrong. Cousin, you're deep in that fear and guilt control matrix. Deep in that fear and guilt control matrix. Forget about Christianity. Come to the Christ and let the Christ set you free so you'll be free indeed. And anyway, probably just lost her, but don't ask a question you don't want an answer to. Jesus was a man until he allowed the Christ I am inside. That's an interesting statement. Don't know if I would share it, but that's interesting. Jeff walked the earth. Jesus walked the earth, but is not coming back. I don't know, Catherine. I'd like to believe you, Kathy. I'd like to share that opinion with you, but I can't prove it, and you can't prove it. Nobody can prove it, and it doesn't really matter because he said everything about my earthly existence doesn't matter. It's the words that I speak, their spirit and truth. I don't know if he walked this earth or not, but I do know that message is still in the business of getting people from where they are to where they want to be, and that business is booming, ladies and gentlemen. Christ did say he wanted us to have all he had and more. Jeff, could I use it to improve my math schools? Absolutely. Ghetto conservative. Put the opportunity out there. He could see your channel. Oh, he's going to be on this channel. There's no doubt about it. He is going to be on this channel. The Last Supper. What about The Last Supper? I'm going to do my sigil tonight. Can you recommend a good book for me to learn more about eschatology? How about you forget about eschatology? Eschatology is all Jesuit mind control voodoo. I would forget about eschatology. I would forget about all of it. I would want nothing to do with eschatology. There is no lake of fire, Allison. It's a fear and guilt control matrix. Am I going to write a code book? I don't know. Maybe. I just don't know if that's enough to carry a whole book. Tracy says, oh boy. Yeah, I know. Why do people feel the need to use blood anyway? Well, listen, Ultraviolet. Most of them are thinking about that God of the Bible, and that God of the Bible loves blood. He wants to eat blood. He wants to drink blood. He wants you to pour blood on the altar. He wants you to sacrifice blood. He wants you to drink his blood. It's no wonder at all to me why they're all about blood, because their God's all about blood. And like it says in the book of Acts, we can't help but do the things we've seen and heard. They see a bloodthirsty God. They hear about a bloodthirsty God. They want to be bloodthirsty. And the reason they use that blood is because it works, but they don't know that they're tying themselves to this fear and guilt control matrix. And you may be able to do a few tricks here, but you're never getting out of this place. Don't tie yourself to this dimension just so you can get a trick or two done. You don't need it. The only reason you use blood is because you don't know how to use what you got, cousin. I'm trying to help you out, and you want to fight with me and argue with me. How do we levitate? Why would you need to levitate, Stephen Reed? If you really, really, really needed to, you probably could. But if you want to levitate just to see what it feels like to levitate, I doubt you're going to be able to do it. Why do people feel the need to use blood? Did you mean esoteric charter? No, don't even know what that means. Pure intention with the heart emotion. I'm busy in my life now. Sorry. This thing jumps on me. I started using the interlinear. Good for you, Vicky. Why would you want to levitate? This is exactly what I asked, Rocker Chick. What about prophecies to come true? There aren't any prophecies left to come true. They were all done by AD 70. He will eat your bird. What? Sam Katarski. He will eat your bird and your bush. I'm not sure where you're going with that one, CM. Thanks for the comic relief, though. Wayne wants to do comedy night? I don't get it. I just don't get it, ladies and gentlemen. Only those with no life in them need blood. There you go, CM. I'm with you. I'm with you. Back to the basics, Jeff. Absolutely. Rocky Stucci. I tried to levitate once, almost broke my neck. I'll bet. That's a lot to levitate, Rocky. He's a big boy. Why walk on water if you have a boat? Exactly. Christian missionary killed in attempting. I know I was going to do a show on that, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Supernatural. Poor dummy. Poor dummy. Going to go out and preach to these natives, and they shot him. He killed him. I don't know why it makes me laugh. I feel really, really bad, but see, that's why I wasn't going to do a show on it. Now you got me in trouble anyway. Buy bull or two bulls. Oh, it's double bull. Old Testament, New Testament. You got two bulls. Buy two bulls, an old bull and a new bull. Oh my gosh, they're two Bible. Veronica L. Vela. Nice work. Yeah, I mean that guy, the God of the Bible, is the original vampire. Yes. Oh, that's a nice one, Francis. I'm not going to repeat it out loud, though. Back to the basics. Christian missionary killed when attempting to visit an isolated Indian tribe illegally to convert them before Thanksgiving. So he's going to go preach the Bible to them. And they shot him with bows and arrows and killed him. It really happened. It's true. An island off the coast of India. And the evangelization effort fell short. They did not convert. They just shot him with bows and arrows. And that guy was probably wishing he could walk on water about that time and run away. So, yeah, that's what happened, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why that makes me laugh. Yeah, I just don't know why that makes me laugh. Pure magic within, gifts of the spirit are magical. Lynn, I want you to watch my gifts of the spirit. There aren't gifts. A gift is something that somebody has to give to you and you have to receive. They're all yours. Don't buy the gifts full. It's yours. And they're all yours. You don't have to wait for some gift from some capricious God that's going to give one to you and one to me and one to this other person. Get that corn out of my face. They're not gifts. They're already yours. Take all you want. And please do. And please use them, because my back hurts from carrying your load. Could we make a sigil to conquer? We could make a sigil to do anything. Sounds like comedy right now. I was wondering since seeing your Ted Cruz vid. Oh, Ted Cruz. Yeah, that was an old one. Jeff, tell me about your levitating shaman. Yeah, we already did that one. We just did that on Rex's channel a little while back. See a lot of people fall over the line. Rocky Stucci looks like one badass MF. He is. Except now he's an emotional meatball. That's how voodoo started. The priests wore robes, had candles. Natives did the same. Interesting. The message of Christ is a message. I don't know if it's from Inky. May I ask a question? There is no topic right now. The topic is waiting for Jay Campbell to get his skinny ass in here. That's the topic. Can I make a sigil for a new chair? Absolutely you can, Melinda. I would appreciate that. I would appreciate that. He calls himself the emotional meatball. I'm not making anything up. I'm not talking out of school. Don't know about the rest of you, but I'm making sigils. It's Marcia. Twilly Miss. So many Christians function codependently with their religion. Absolutely. Jeff, a little extra tonight. Yeah. 24 stories that mirror Christ's life at least. Oh, at the very least. You're welcome, Ultraviolet. The very least, there's 24. Probably 124, and that's still conservative. Okay, Light, I understand your opinion. You've made it. Let's move on, because that's not what we're talking about tonight. Man, it kind of irritates me. I'm not sure why. but it does. So that's why I removed it. Hope I didn't hurt your feelings. Awesomeness, Alana. Dawn. I feel attacked. I was only agreeing. This is where I get myself in trouble. I feel attacked. Well, I'm sorry that you feel attacked. I wasn't trying to attack you on Thanksgiving Eve, but this is for big boys and big girls. And if you feel attacked, maybe best you sit at the kiddies table. I know I shouldn't have gone there, but I'm not trying to attack anybody. And if you ask a question, there's one rule in the NCK. Never ask a question that you don't really want an answer to, because you're going to get an answer. Sean Morris asking a scriptural question. What is it? Jeremiah 20, 13 through 14. All right, I'll bite. Jeremiah 20, 13 through 14. Let's go to Bible Hub and see what it says. Jeremiah 20, 13 through 14. Jeremiah 20, 13 through 14. Jeremiah 20, 13 through 14. I feel like Elvis taking requests, although we never did. Jeremiah 20, 13 through 14. Sing unto the Lord, praise the Lord, for he hath delivered the soul of the poor from the hand of evildoers. Cursed be the day when I was born. Let not the day wherein my mother bare me be blessed. I'd say Jeremiah was having a bad day. I don't think the Lord delivers anybody. It's like, sing unto the Lord, praise the Lord. He delivers the soul of the poor from the hand of evildoers. Only problem is he probably was the one that put the poor in the hand of the evildoers. It's like the Lord will save you from your sin, but you don't have any sin. You only think you have sin because the Lord told you got sin, and now he's going to save you from what he gave you that you don't really have in the first place, so he can get you to be his slave. You don't have original sin. You got the spark of divinity within. You don't need saving. The fear, David Icke talks about the problem, reaction, solution. Well, this is sin, salvation, savior. They teach you got sin, so you'll believe you need salvation. And guess what, cousin? Boom, we got the only savior in town. That's why the Lord saves you from sin, because he convinces you got it, makes you think you got to get saved from it, and boom, he's got the only savior in town. It's called a fear and guilt control matrix. Don't buy it. Jeremiah was having a bad day. That's my explanation of that scripture passage right there. I don't know how much longer we're going to wait for Jay. That's my take on Jeremiah 20, 13 through 14. Mark Center saying, haven't seen you in a little while. What else do we see? What is worship and why should a God need it? Worship is what a slave gives to a master, and no true God will ever want worship. And any being that wants worship isn't a true God. You didn't make me upset. You don't have the power to make me upset. Nobody has the power to make me upset. People getting triggered pretty easily these days, no doubt about it. Yep, open mic with Jeff tonight. So what should we call gifts? Possessions. They're yours. They're already yours. So many sigils, so little time. I have to put my head down. All right, Jason, see you, brother. Do you have any experience with remote viewing? I'm trying to learn to remote view right now. Stone cold dirty. I'm not sure what that means, but it's probably too true. I'm probably too much of an ass. I know. I try, but there's only so much you can do. Mark Center Saint, one of my favorite people. Energy goes where your intention is focused. That's why the Old Testament God was a wannabe and a vampire in many levels. Hope he's evolved since then. I think he's gone, Twilight Mist. I think he's been deposed. Thanks, Teresa. Today's my birthday. Happy birthday, Sean. Rachel, are you kidding me? That's very naive. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm sorry. Alrighty then. What's a dark lord? That's a dark lord. Abilities. Hello, Rooney. RVing is definitely, remote viewing is definitely real. Possessions, 2,300 hours. I thought Jeff was bad at math. I'm not good at math at all. And let's see if we can bring Rooney in for a guest appearance. Come here, mister. Come here. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen. The new cosmic kitten. Hello, Rooney. What you doing, mister? Say hello to all of your fans. Say hello. Everyone loves you. Rachel Byers just gave you $2 from Meaties. Yeah. Say hi to all those people out there. Say hello. This is the new cosmic kitten right here, Rooney Tooney. He's a good boy. Yeah. You just wanted to come say hi? Yeah. Everything okay, mister? Do you have any words for the people? No? You done? You ready to go? You a good boy? You pussy kitten? You Rooney Tooney? Oh. Jay Campbell.
Oh my God, he has a cat. Awesome.
All right, mister. We'll see you. Mwah. Hey, I'm filling time, brother.
I'm so sorry, dude. It's been an interesting night, but I do have broadband in my hotel, which is good.
Looks like you're at the Ritz-Carlton.
Fuck, I wish. I'm at the DoubleTree in Perimeter in Atlanta. It's actually a brand new hotel though, so it's a pretty nice DoubleTree.
Yeah, DoubleTree's not bad.
No, it's definitely not bad. So how many people are watching? Do we actually have people watching right now?
We have 282 brave souls waiting for you to show up.
Holy shit. Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you guys watching. Monica will be in the background.
So we're going to talk about the chapters 3 and 4 and 5 of the David Icke book.
I think we should, man. It's absolutely mind-blowing, dude. I mean, I was so mind-blown sitting on the plane today reading some of this stuff. I mean, he really has hacked through the whole thing, dude.
He has hacked the whole matrix.
I mean, it's incredible. Like what you were talking about yesterday about Saturn.
Yes.
And what he's come up with, what's going on in Saturn. It's just amazing. I mean, we can always do this another time. I mean, I know there's a lot of people watching right now, and I got a lot of great feedback today from people.
Well, give us your top 2 or 3 hits from that.
Oh,
and by the way, Stephen wants to know, did you get the cookies at DoubleTree?
We did. Show them the cookies, babe.
Monica got the cookies.
Guess what? I'm eating the cookies.
Will you guys actually eat those cookies? Oh, look at that. Monica.
Games. The next 3 days are all about the games.
Excellent. Love it.
So,
I'm here all by my damn self, and you're there with your beautiful wife, but I'll try not to be envious. But you know what? Sometimes it's better to be by yourself.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. So I think that for all the people that are watching and some of the stuff.
Except when I get to lick the cookies off of him.
Oh, no.
I didn't know that was going to happen, but maybe I have that to look forward to.
Maybe. That brings a whole new meaning to eating cookies in bed.
We're definitely not eating cookies in bed. So, dude, all we
What's George Costanza like? Remember when George was mixing?
George Costanza.
Actually, says, why is it better to be alone? Well, there was a great guy, one of my old buddies, who had his problems, but he laid some wisdom on me. His name was Jimmy Swaggart, and he said, Jeff, it's much better to be single wishing you were married than to be married wishing you were single.
Isn't that the truth?
There you go.
Isn't that the truth? Speaking of George Costanza, one of my good, which I can't name the guy, but a lot of the people that watch our stuff knows who this doctor is, but he's George's private doctor, one of my optimization doctors. And he's actually
Sanders' doctor?
Yeah, he shared actually some funny stories with Jason about. Yeah, Jason had a serious testosterone issue.
Is he a good guy?
He is, but let's just put it this way: that Jason is exactly the guy who plays on Seinfeld in real life.
Thank you so much. But my testosterone was way down when I met you, wasn't it?
I mean, as we know, dude, it's an epidemic in modern society.
It's weird because I didn't really feel like it was way down. So even if you don't think that you need hormone optimization, get your blood work and get with Jay, and it'll change your life. It's changed my life in a year, and I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you're very, very right about that. You know, not to change the topic of the show, but it's true, dude. A lot of guys who are in great shape, and women, you know, who are in great shape in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, have very, very low testosterone, and not just testosterone, but thyroid levels. And, you know, it affects not just obviously your physical performance, but affects everything, your mood, your cognition.
I wasn't in great shape, but Jay, let me ask you a question.
So,
this is off the subject, but you know, there I was at 60 pounds heavier, you know, not nearly in as good a shape. And when we pulled my blood work, my testosterone was way down there in the basement, but I wasn't really noticing any sexual lack of performance issues. Not that I was having much of it, but is that always indicative? Or I guess the question is, can you be performing adequately sexually and still have low testosterone?
In fact, that's the norm. That's why a lot of men don't ever get, you know, evaluated for this, because their first thought is, I don't have any issues down there, man. You know, I get hard. I have no problems, you know, so it's never usually sexual. Sexual is like one of the last side effects.
Got it.
Of actual hormone dysfunction. So, you know, if you don't not get your blood work done because you feel like sexually you're performing, you know, it's the number one issue is usually a lack of, you know, cognition. It's a brain fog. You know, you just feel horrible by 1:32, 2:30 in the afternoon. You want to go home and take a nap. You just feel terrible.
That's amazing, Jake.
And that's usually
has greatly increased my cognitive function.
Well, I mean, look at you, dude. Right now it's 11 o'clock at night, and you're, you know, energetic with your cat.
Exactly. Hey, I don't have a wife, but I have a cat.
I can share a story with you guys that happened on the plane ride, but no, we'll just jump right into this because I know we wanted to talk a little bit about this, and I apologize, guys, that I did not get to the internet as fast as I could. I had to deal with kids and family. So just to pick up from where we were last night.
At least you didn't body slam anybody into a Christmas tree.
Those days are over. Remember what we talked about on Monday night? We talked about and by the way, Monica, give me credit. Was I good with my family?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just,
No, yeah.
No, tell them.
I have cookie in my mouth. What do you want me to do?
But just tell them.
I just didn't know if that was like,
on our show on Monday night, I told him that I was going to go back and, you know, what Kathy said, it was about energy and just be there as a presence.
Mm-hmm. No, it was
Ladies
great.
and gentlemen, this is Monica Diaz Campbell, Jay's lovely wife.
Hello. Yeah, no, it was actually great because there was only, there's probably like maybe 1/3 of your family there.
Yeah, I mean, there were some people there, but I mean, you know, Kevin and I usually don't get along. We were good.
Oh, wow. No, they were great. Everything was awesome. And I have to tell you, like my dad right now, when we dropped him off in the room, he said he got emotional on the plane and he was crying just with how much gratitude he has on everything that's happening. So
that's awesome.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it's a lot of really nice stuff.
Yeah, her dad hasn't been on a plane in over 10 years. So there was a lot of like.
No, he hasn't. He's never been here. We went to Hawaii 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's right. You took him to Hawaii. That's right. I didn't go with you.
It's been a long time anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, he has a lot of gratitude. So he's also a guy who's mostly been in survival programming his whole life, and he's been talking to Monica a lot, right, babe, in the last 2 weeks about how he's trying to realize. I just said try again. He's shifting his beliefs to. You know, all the things we always talk about, how he knows he can change his thought patterns.
Yeah.
That's the gentleman we saw in Kroger, right?
Yeah, that's her dad, Hank. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was a severe alcoholic. He's been sober for 35 years. I mean, to the point when I was growing up, he beat my mom. He was like there was a lot of issues, and my sister still holds resentment towards him. And to this day, almost 50, he's never been in a productive relationship because she used to blame my dad. She doesn't want to take responsibility for it. And you don't understand how amazing it is to hear my dad tell me, Monica, the other day, I found myself stopping and thinking, what am I doing? I can change the way I feel right now. Wait a second. I should be grateful for this. I should do that. And he actually shifted from attempting to throw a fit to stopping himself and actually having gratitude in that moment. And he was I had never heard of my dad ever doing that. He's 73 years old. Never heard of him. So
That's transformation.
There's miracles everywhere.
Absolutely. Thank you. Jay, could you just go sit on the bed and let Monica talk?
I could. You want to take over, man? I mean,
So talk to us about David Icke.
He's definitely better eye candy than me, but we don't have that many. I thought most of our followers were chicks.
Oh my God! Did he just say that?
Surprising. Oh, really? Let me think. Wait. I wonder why.
It's not me, bro. It's Jeff. He's the man.
For the first time, though, not funny that you mentioned that, but for the first time, I'm checking my analytics.
Yeah.
And it's 51% female, 49%
yes, divine feminine rules, bro.
I'm happy.
I'm gonna actually go right into that. So just real quick, because we didn't finish. There was one last section.
Super loud, just so you know.
It's loud or it's bad?
You're loud.
Oh, really? Even on my just shitty.
Can you imagine what our neighbors are thinking in this hotel room? They're probably thinking, yes, you're freaking loud.
Dude, my bad. I don't even have a microphone, so I just assumed I turned it up. My bad. Apologies, everybody.
That's all right. I just want to you are really loud.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I don't
this
really
is
have
the most balanced channel in the conspiratorium. Absolutely, and I'm proud of that.
Conspiratorium. Jeff, we're not a conspiracy anymore. Remember, we analyze the lies of the Matrix.
That's right. This is new thought right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, it is.
New thought, knowledge for your ass.
So,
amen, brother.
So, this is a perfect Thanksgiving show. Okay, so we're going to get into hardcore stuff. I wish you could edit all the beginning out so we can go into the stuff that people talk about. But so the archontic control system of fate, again, as Icke defines it, experience in a gigantic computer program. And it's also related to the concept of karma, which is defined as the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence, deciding their fate in future existences. So I think one of the things that we really got to take heed of is that Icke is saying that everything is the Matrix. And
everything.
Since the speed, he has a great analogy in the next chapter of the speed of light and how we are led to believe, again, by science, the anathema of science, that that's the greatest speed that we can understand, but it's all made up because that's the greatest speed that the Matrix, that the archontic / demiurgic infection created in the hologram.
Yeah.
So of course there's greater speeds in that. Of course, everything that we understand from a scientific construct is based on the hologram. And he says, again, based on the demiurgic, says that science is all science is doing is essentially trying to confirm the mathematical equation of the hologram, and that's in the next chapter, and that goes into what you and I were starting to talk about with Saturn, with the rings of Saturn. And let me just share this last thing because I put this in the Dakotas are true.
Let me ask you one question. Does Mr. Icke talk about our ability to reprogram the Matrix?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's the same thing. It's the same thing that you and I have been talking about since day one on the show, and that is that we are free-willed, sovereign souls. But until we unify our spirit through the things that we know, the David Hawkins, the triumvirate or the tripartite, which is forgiveness, service, and love.
Yep.
Until you do those three things and you live those in those ways, you are under control of the archons. And that, to me, this is the really, really profound stuff. As I read more today, and as I told you, I had very profound visions last night. I had visions. I might have been taken last night. I really, I'm not a guy to claim that I've ever been taken or gone up in UFOs or any of that nonsense. But something happened to me. I sent you messages this morning. I had some very profound things last night happen to me. I think they were dreams. I mean, that's what we'll assume they were. But
Jay, could we say that anything that is being produced on YouTube that we're producing or that we're consuming that does not have as its basis? Give me the three things again: service, love, and
forgiveness.
If they're not servicing or promoting forgiveness, service, and love, then they are archonic in nature and are supporting the archonic matrix.
Yes. However, I don't believe the majority of people even know they're supporting the archontic
But they
infection.
still are, even though they don't know it.
Yes, yes. And as you unfortunately were made aware today, which as I've been telling you was my assumption all along, our friend Bob Sanders is not who we think.
Here?
You what?
You want to go there?
I don't think that it's probably good for public, but we'll have Bob on the show, but we'll maybe bring that up, but not good. Not good. And again, Bob is a good person, I believe, but again, being manipulated. That's just my opinion, but also shared by people. So anyway, but back to the control factor. Like we always talk about like certain people, in the matrix or in the control structure, we say, oh, so-and-so is controlled. People like in my sector of the world will say, oh, Joe Rogan, he's now controlled. He doesn't go down those paths anymore. You can tell. And as I've made statements on our show before, Mike Cernovich has told me, and Mike's pretty big now, he said, once you get to a certain level of influence, you are told by people, in the system that you can't now cross the line because you make so much money and you have so much influence and you wield so much clout that if you do not, abide by the party line, we can ruin you and we can take you down. So there is that. But like, in this last 24 hours, especially in reading today, I realized that we're all, Jeff, controlled by the archons because our souls, when we are born into the reincarnation cycle, matrix, wheel, whatever you want to call it, like until you learn to manifest the spirit from the things that we talk about, there's no possible way that you are not being manipulated or shifted by the infection, the demiurgus infection. I mean, it's in everything. It's in control of everything, like everything that's established, the money supply, how we make money, the systems, the beliefs, the TV, that every shape, as he calls it, it's a perception deception. Everything is manipulated by the archons.
And that's what I like about David Icke. He will identify all of the problems. He'll identify all of the difficulties, but I've never seen him trying to gin up, engender, create, stoke fear. He says, this is what's going on, but we have the sovereignty. We have the ability to overcome it. And here's how we do it. And I'm on a crusade, Jay. The truther community is full of fear mongering. Yeah. We've got to stop that shit.
And by the way, that's the emails that I get from all of our, faithful, devoted fans. Again, we love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for making Jeff and I who we are. But that's what I hear. I hear mostly like you guys are doing such an amazing job because you're bringing this out there, but you're not making people fearful. I hear a lot of stuff like Naughty Beaver. And again, I respect the guy. I think his videos are great, but a lot of people come away with like there's kind of an overbearing, fearful construct of like revelational type stuff. And obviously we're not in support of that. That doesn't mean that may not end up materializing, but I don't believe that. I know you don't believe that, but let me just read this real quick.
Thanks for mentioning names, Jay. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I like Naughty Beaver. I watch his videos. A state of infinite awareness in awareness of itself is the source of all that is. Okay. Infinite imagination brought forth expressions or emanations of itself, which had the gift of creation through their connection to infinite awareness. Realms of reality and awareness emerged of incredible beauty, bliss, love, and harmony. And these are the realms of the watery light that is so powerful. And again, there are no shadows. Those are the upper aeons of Gnostic belief, heaven. Yep. Okay. So then came the error, again, the demiurgic, inversion.
Yep.
And that imbalanced thought or the perception which brought the distortion into manifestation. So remember, we are the opposite of heaven. Earth is the opposite of heaven. It's the inversion. Okay. Yeah. This is really clear right here. This is not an entity. So the chief archon, Lucifer, Satan, the demiurgus, Yaldabaoth, whatever you want to refer to him, is not an entity with arms and legs. It's a state of inverted, distorted, and chaotic awareness. So think of universal awareness, which is love consciousness, right? 600 and above on the level of consciousness, according to Hawkins. And the opposite, which is fed, okay, basically by hate and anger and evil.
And fear.
And fear, exactly. So that's how the archons continue to control humanity through that influence and that power structure. So when you are worried and fearful and you go to church and they tell you you're a sinner, everything is done to keep this matrix in a state of fear, violence, death. Everything is done to keep us in a state of fear. So when you worry, when you worry, anything you do that is designed to make you fearful, you are literally keeping their energetic negative construct in balance.
Absolutely.
And calling shots.
Absolutely. And they're trying to create, they want us to believe it's a no-win scenario. And I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
It's definitely a win. We're winning right now.
We are winning right now. We're like Charlie Sheen.
So think of it like this, guys. Exactly, winning. Demiurge insanity became collective archontic and demonic insanity. This is a state of being that we know is evil, which comes from extreme ignorance and the absence of love, empathy, and compassion. So again, what Gary talks about the reptilian soul. No empathy.
By the way, I love having a studio audience. It's excellent.
Yeah, even in the background. She must be listening, which is interesting. She really doesn't listen to anything I say except when I tie her up. Oh, that's for another.
Oh God, here we go.
No, because we don't always agree on things, just so you know.
Except when I tie her up.
Yeah.
Okay. The word evil in English is the reverse of live. We talked about that. And everything about the demiurge is the version of the source of all, God. Okay? So Satanists and those in the inner circles of secret societies who worship the demiurge and its perceptual copies and possessed agents are for this reason a collective death cult, which represents the inversion of all of life. And death and decay are energetic frequencies that the archontic force can absorb as sustenance and power. So again, remember we just said the more death, the more decay, the more hatred, the more violence and fear that they can generate, the more empowered they are. So again, all archons are shadows.
That's right.
That's why John Lash, in his brilliant books, I think it was Not in His Image, he talked about them being photographed in Curlian photography as like amoeboid imbalances of light.
He did.
So remember, watery light, smokeless fire. Am I that loud?
You're loud, bro. You're turned up.
I mean, I'm not even on anything. I have nothing. No caffeine, nothing. What am I? Nothing. Energy, bro.
Natural energy, bro. You're rocking from the anal probes in the spaceship last night.
It's very possible. So yeah, the only other thing is that David Icke likes to make sure that people understand that this, again, let there be light, right? And then God said, let there be light. He says it's an inferior light and it's electromagnetic and it's radiation of the spectrum that human beings can see, right? That 5 sense prism, as he calls it, the prison prism. So we can only see in that little medial, 3-dimensional band of light.
Yep, it's like we have, and that's the light that he says is created at the beginning of the Bible.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
So the whole key is that they have to keep us in this 5, what do you call it?
But how does he know?
Not the emotions.
Because he's David Icke, Monica.
Because Monica, if you would read the book, you would know how David Icke knows.
But how does he know? How do you know he knows?
Because I have a very good, strong feeling that this ties in.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to read the book, Monica.
She does. She's a big reader, but she won't read this kind of stuff. She thinks it's too negative.
I know what I know.
Okay.
But Icke is not negative. He's very positive.
Yeah, he is very.
I'm with you, Monica. I'm with you 100% on the anti-negativity. We don't need that.
Yep.
No, well, you gotta have negativity to understand and appreciate positivity. There's a reason why we have yin, yin, yang. There's a reason why you have all of that. It's important to have it.
So why are you challenging him? And then if you basically somewhat agree with what he's saying, why are you challenging?
I don't know what he's saying. I'm just saying, how do you know?
Well, then if you don't know what he's saying, why are you in here debating?
I'm just saying, how do you know he knows?
No, here's my thing. There's always going to be plenty of negativity out there. We don't have to worry about making negativity. There'll be plenty of it there. So we can create the positivity to counterbalance that negativity that's gonna be there. There's plenty of negative, even in this truth community. People are being negative. I'm not going to be a part of it. What do you think about that, Monica?
Well, the way I see it is you don't have to necessarily engage in it, yet at the same time, you can observe it and come from a perspective of like, okay,
Damn this buffer.
Going through that, and you don't necessarily combat it, but you also don't necessarily like interact with it, type of thing. And I see people that, they'll get negative on someone's post, and all of a sudden you see someone attack. I'm like, why are you saying this? It's like, well, look, everybody has a right to an opinion. Just because they don't agree with what you're saying doesn't necessarily mean they're negative. They just have a different opinion.
That's a good point.
And I think that sometimes we get caught up in thinking, well, this is right and that's wrong. And yet we're not living through the eyes of the person who's saying it. So how can we say that it's negative, positive, or any of that? Because we don't have their experience. We're not living in their skin. And it's just that they don't agree with what we're saying. So essentially what we're doing is we're putting ourselves higher up and dictating what's negative and positive for them and for us.
Right. That's true. So at the very least, we should give everybody the right to be wrong in our view.
Well, it's not about being right or wrong, as she always teaches me. But let me just say this, and then I'll wrap up this chapter. It says, and this is kind of the end of the inversion that we didn't get to yesterday, and I think this is profound stuff. Human form and the energetic, and this is what I learned today more than anything. And I know I was messaging you about this, but human form.
I have to throw this in real quick because I'll forget it. Mark Centersane, who's a very spiritual guy, says he recommends that you stop the negativity quick with a throat punch, but do it with love.
Monica to me or me to her?
Just in general. I think it's a general rule for stopping negativity.
That's true. A throat punch is really good. I've executed a few of those in my day. Human form and the energetic garment of soul was manifested as a flawed and manipulated copy of an upper aeon blueprint or archetype. So listen to what we're saying here, guys, and this is something from Icke that's fascinating. The soul is not positive until you manifest the great spirituality that you can from doing the three things.
Yes.
And if you know that 85% of people are in S2S, service to self, and by God, did Monica and I witness that on the plane ride tonight.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh my God, man. People are so, it's amazing when you're observing now, as I find myself in almost every situation and disconnected from survival programming, to watch people who are so like under the control of archons. Like every thought, every feeling, every emotion, every action, everything, they are vibrating like a tuning fork of archontic infection. It's insane. Absolutely. So he says that, remember, this archetype, Adam, okay, designed to entrap awareness in the lower aeons and the illusion of physicality and separations. Humans went forth and multiplied, Agent Anderson, made copies of themselves through procreation, which led to humanity as we know it today. The body that we think we see is really a holographic image fashioned from the standing wave information blueprint in the soul field, which is why the base form of the body is not actually what we see, but a waveform information field. Our true self is and always will be an upper aeon spirit. And what we experience is a shadow or illusory self.
Interesting.
By self-identifying with the higher self, the true self, and not the fake phantom self, which is our body and our mind, okay, we bring the shadow and what it reflects, the spirit self, which again, the higher self.
Does everybody have a higher self?
Of course, if you have a soul, yes. Back into synchronization, harmony, and unity. So your question's answered right now. Listen, when spirit and shadow merge, okay, we are out of here through the ring past not, which we talked about last night.
Yes.
The demiurgic distortion and its copies have no connection to source in the way that humans potentially do, and so are blocked from its limitless creative potential. Remember, the archons have no creativity because, again, no empathy, no love, and they have no vision, or not vision. What is it? Yeah, exactly, feeling. So it goes on to say, and then I can wrap up this chapter. It just says that it's not just humans. Again, this is a gigantic matrix. We are in the matrix. The animals are in the matrix. Every form of life, the plants are in the matrix. They're all programmed to act, do, behave, grow the same way. It's just a giant computer program running endlessly, a simulation.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it's so unbelievable how he gets into this. He does say, and this is good for all of us, but he says and my own life from completely different sources is that archontic control will be ended by the infusion of infinite awareness. Okay.
It will.
He says my first book on these subjects in 1990 was about this, and he said that I have been told through several psychics and mediums, of which I am very open and forthwith about, is that a collective consciousness shift was coming. So remember, this was told to him in 1990. And it would awaken humanity from its spiritual slumber and bring to the surface all that had been hidden. He said, I was told that those most open and connected to spirit, so the people watching the show, the truth community for the most part, not everybody, but for the most part, would be affected first, and that eventually even those who were solidly snoozing would begin to awaken from their sleep.
Wow. That's even more positive than me.
This is the last two sentences of the chapter, and everybody is saying the same thing. And again, this is stuff that he wrote a long time ago, obviously put into the new book, but he says where it goes from here and how it all turns out is completely up to us. This is the challenge for humanity the world over. Do we delete our programmed perceptions that keep us in servitude to illusion, aka the demiurgic force, and awakening to our true self, which has always been there behind the veil of forgetfulness? So remember, the veil of forgetfulness is the false AI soul. Basically the duplication, the inversion of who we really are, our higher self. So we have a higher self and a lower self, and the lower self is the negative soul controlled by fear, and the higher self is when we are loving. Now, as I sent you that message earlier today, everyone that watches our show should live their life by that one statement now, all of us. In everything we do, it should be the brain thinks and the heart knows. It's absolutely true. And you could replace the brain with the mind.
Absolutely.
Every action, every inspiration, every intention you have, put your heart to it. Does your heart say it's an F yes? If it doesn't, then kill it. Because left brain, the whole next chapter is about how the archons have woven into our left brains. Remember, we used to be bicameral, right and left hemisphere. When we were, before the archontic infection, we used right and left equally because, again, the right brain is love and the left brain is logic. But now the archons came in and they made everything left brain. So we're always focused on skepticism and science and deductive reasoning. And so that's why we have no love. And then, again, the wrap up in this chapter was like, the one thing we all have to do is we have to uncover the broken heart, because we all have our hearts eroded by the archons.
Interesting.
It's very, very difficult to feel love, because that's one of the main things that they've suppressed, is broken the heart. And again, how do they do that? They break up families, the family court systems, the things that happen in divorces. They take the father away from the children. There's so many ways that they control us and enslave us from actually having our heart chakra powered.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Only other thing we could say, and I know you've been on a while. How long have you been on? So we'll get off in like 10 or 15 minutes if you're okay.
Yeah, I've been on. We still have over 300 though.
Awesome. I mean, well, go as long as you want to go, because I mean, some of this stuff. So I already talked about the speed of light.
Dude, you know that it's 11:30 where you are now, right?
No, for me, it's 8:30. I mean, dude, you shut it down whenever you want. I'm good.
No, I'm just saying, it's gonna be 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're gonna say, "What am I doing? It's 5 in the morning."
Nah, dude. Monica and I already made that call. We knew that, we told the girls this before we got off, and my brothers were like, "You guys are gonna get woken up early tomorrow morning. It's just 2 days. Just deal with it."
Yeah.
So the speed of light, I wanted to say this, the speed of light is an artificial barrier that creates standing waves within its energetic walls or borders, which we experience. Emphasis on experience as the physical universe. This is really just a standing wave construct, or a matrix, or a simulation, underpinned by the unifying scalar field and consisting of oscillating stationary information that we decode into holographic reality. So again, he gets really, really deep into the quantum, but he just basically telling you, he's like, the body is designed to interact with the stimulation of the cosmic internet. So again, you guys, all of this is math. If we're able to higher self observe everything that we do, we're completely programmed. And by the way, this is completely mind-blowing. John Lamb said that the demiurge fashions a heaven world copied from fractal patterns. So fractals is just complete loops. If you can get into fractals and seeing fractals, that's part of the hologram. That's when you're like observing it from the infinite awareness aspect, and you know that this entire thing is a hologram. So this is so mind-blowing when I read this. There's like 3 researchers in the last 15 years, and they've all been silenced, by the way, who figured out that it's not consciousness. We're actually doing things. The brain acts before consciousness does. I got to read this one thing to you. It's by 10 seconds, by the way. So imagine how much this is a simulation. When you don't even have conscious free will, your brain is responding faster, again, in the left brain than your consciousness is.
Interesting.
Yes, by 10 seconds. There's like, I want to get to this real quick. So scientists and academics, with very few exceptions, are locked away in the left side of the brain, which he says for reasons I will come to. And the left hemisphere is obsessed with processing detail in the way someone describes it. Researchers talk about. He says the right hemisphere has always connected the detail, and that's why it can see the forest, i.e., the heart. Virtually the entire global education system is structured by design to stimulate the left side of the brain at the expense of the right.
Absolutely.
Right? Keep people in fear. He talks about right here it says the brain's electrical activity to make the hand move in this experiment, or the person's conscious intention to make their hand move. It had to be a second one, surely, right? It had to be conscious intention to make the hand move. Nope. Brain activity to move the hand was triggered a full 8 seconds before any conscious intention to move it. So he studied this. So think about that. Okay, so in your mind, you're like, I'm going to move my right hand. And the brain moves the right hand before you even think you're moving. We're in a freaking matrix, dude.
So literally every single function is autonomic.
Yes, dude.
We're robots.
Complete robots. Dylan Haynes, a neuroscientist at the Max Planck Institute for Human Cognitive and Brain Sciences in Leipzig, Germany, led a later study that was able to predict an action 10 seconds before people had a conscious intention to even do it.
So, Jay, we're being
We have no free will, Jeff. I know where you're going. We have no free will. This is literally an energetic construct controlled by the demiurgus.
I don't agree.
It's
even you and I.
No. So she just said, I don't agree. She comes out of the bathroom. I love how she's actually listening. But
It's hard.
Hold on. Well, you should listen because I'm educating right now.
Okay.
But the reality is that when you are
in that room, they might both be in use tonight if you keep it up, Jay.
No, there's only one bed in here.
There's only one bed?
Yeah, there's only one bed. Monica knows how to acquiesce. We're not talking about Jay and Monica. We're talking about the demiurge. So when you are living a life detached from the matrix, which I feel like all 3 of us are. We do enough inner work. We understand how not to do it.
You're not detached if you're living in the material world.
That's not true. Your great friend and confidant, Matthew Ferry, says that the whole goal is to function with peaceful, prosperous, enlightened intent while living in the matrix. So yes, you can.
But you're still in the matrix.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're detached from it. You don't live in it. You're in it, but you're not in it.
It's like Jesus said,
you are not living in it.
Brother, let me help you out a minute. Jesus said we are in the world, but we're not of the world.
Thank you, Jeff. That's a way better expression of it. And that's exactly what Ike is saying.
Amen, Brother Jeff.
Thank you. But that's exactly what Ike is saying. We have free will, but only when we practice those things. And we're detached from the, archontic infection, which
only when we stay in service, love, and I forget the other one.
Service, love, and peaceful love and kindness.
Yes. Only when we stay in those states can we maintain our mental autonomy, our spiritual and emotional autonomy.
Well, I mean, you could also say, too, if you're in deep contemplation or meditation and your mind is silent, then you're observing. So you can.
Right.
But I mean, again, Monica's right in that she's saying that we are in the matrix. So we're ultimately, as human beings, flawed in 3D, in this three-dimensional perception prism, we are going to default to being human. So it's how much of the time, though, do you recognize that you can't, like you said, be, living in the matrix and of the matrix. So you're trying to not be of the matrix. I just said trying.
The more we practice being real people, the more natural it'll become to us. And we should get to the point eventually where we are almost always not in the matrix, even though we're not of the matrix, even though we're in the matrix. We're living within the matrix reality, but we're not living according to its rules. We become a virus in the matrix.
Exactly. A virus of a virus. Again, I immediately think of Jason. Be the bull.
Help me with that. Be the what?
Be the bull. Remember, the fish are in the bowl, the water's in the bowl, the food's in the bowl. If you take part in what's going on in the bowl, then you're in the matrix. But if you're of a mind construct where you're just literally existing, again, God is, that's the answer. God is. I remember Hawkins saying that, people would say, I am, or God, the I am or something like that. It's just the I. That's why he would say there is no am, because it's just.
Oh, that's right. They're just the I.
It's just the bowl. So it's the same thing as a human being. How do you remove yourself from living in the matrix? Well, it's what we just said. You're in the matrix, but you're not taking part in it.
And even if you remember the Matrix movie, when Neo walks in there and the little girl's bending the spoon, and he's like, how do you bend a spoon? And she's like, there is no spoon.
Exactly.
You got to realize there's no spoon. Was Monica whispering something?
No, she was just putting the phone down.
Oh.
So this is Ike's quote. I have contended for a long time that this phenomenon is the control program being dictated by the simulation through body, mind, soul, and the counterfeit spirit. A program dictates human experience in the absence of spirit. So here we are, in the absence of spirit, by decoding those experiences into existence from quantum waveform fields of possibility and probability. Control perception and you control experience. So it's totally true. Most people are in survival all the time. So every bit of survival is totally a perception of control for the archons. Literally.
That's amazing.
I mean, think about that. And then he goes on to say, this is how the perception deception works. Without the get out of jail card of spirit. So again, it's the get out of jail card of spirit, which is really the higher self over the soul in this three-dimensional world. The program, which includes astral. Oh, by the way, we're going to astrological influences. Astrology is massive, and he explains how it decodes it completely. Can act like tram tracks leading you along a predestined path. So literally, again, you're robots going on the tram until you learn how to not be a robot.
Not recommending astrology?
Oh no, he's huge. You have to understand astrology. He completely decodes astrology. Astrology is massive. And you know that, Jeff, from Stellar Man and from Secret Science.
Yeah,
massive.
absolutely.
And by the way, he gets into chapters 3, 4, and 5, because I'm in midway through chapter 5 now. It's like I'm reading it and I'm like, my God, John Baines and him are, he's obviously a hermeticist.
Absolutely.
He's definitely very schooled in the Gnostic and Hermetic teachings for sure.
Absolutely.
So he says spirit is being infused into the lower aeons to free souls and minds from the illusion. Spirit is speaking, and as the saying goes, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. They who have not must stay asleep, at least for now. So again, eyes to see, ears to hear.
Absolutely. And we have to, and it's what we went back to a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about, I think it was you and I were talking about, stop trying to wake people up.
Yes, exactly. Spiritual violence. Can't do it. Can't do it.
That's exactly what Mr. Icke is saying. Those that have ears to hear, you can wake them up. Those that don't have ears to hear, let them sleep.
100%, dude.
I have read John Lashlam. I've actually interacted with John Lashlam. He didn't like me, but I don't think he's public anymore anyway. So that's the answer to that.
Why did he not like you? Because of your religious stuff a long time ago?
Because we had a discussion that John, in the book of John, was writing Gnostic truth. So John had to at least be a Gnostic initiate, or the Christ was, or he told him about it. And John, took me to task over that, even though I proved it to him without any doubt in the Greek.
Why would he say, though, that he wasn't a Gnostic?
Because he said the Gnosticism has nothing to do with the Bible, and
What?
he told me he was the anointed leader of Gnosticism on earth today, and I had no right to disagree with him.
Are you kidding me? Oh, wow. I actually did hear that he went crazy.
Well, I don't know if he went crazy, but I know he didn't like me. And there's a line of people like that don't like me. So he had to take a number.
Man, I can't even tell you how many people don't like me. So this is the last thing, one constant, and this is in chapter 3, one constant that everything survives by killing something else. This is the so-called law of the wild of how the archons keep us in control on earth. It says, what better way to generate constant fear and suffering on which to energetically feed than to make nature a global killing field?
Oh, that's so true.
Okay, I'm about to say something that's going to blow up all the vegans, and this is, again, not for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is David Icke, not Jay Campbell or Jeffrey.
Not Jay Campbell, but this is
direct your emails and commentary to Mr. David Icke.
They already do, or at Jay Campbell at Tier 2 Revolution. But I showed this to Monica, by the way, today on the plane when I read this, and I was like, look at that, look at that, look at that. It's so profound. So archontic programs have been encoded to make killing, whether by humans or animals. You guys, everybody who's watching this right now, listen very closely to this. So archontic programs have been encoded to make killing, whether by humans or animals, the means of survival, which applies to everything and everyone. Vegetarians and vegans avoid meat for all animal products, but they still have to eat what was once or still is conscience. Everything is. I don't care. I had to say it loud. She's blowing me up.
Well, you are loud, bro, but it is true.
I mean, think about that.
And every vegan eats his own body fat, so they're all eating animal products anyway.
Dude, I mean, that is like a giant Autobot sword through the Matrix.
It is. And if you want to be vegan, that's okay, but just, don't be.
And just deal with reality. You're no different than a person eating animal meat.
Whatever works for you, works for you. Whatever works for me, works for me. And
I just think it's just fun.
Past the ribs.
So I don't want to you keep this going as long as you want, and I will stay on because obviously I'm fired up right now. But
we'll go for 18 more minutes to make it an even 2 hours, and we'll
awesome. I definitely want to talk.
You're buffering just a little bit.
This is insane. So I'm going to just say this as a high level, and then we'll go into the details. So essentially, what Icke has hacked through the Matrix is that he knows, and again, not from him, he gives other great writers who've done.
Fertilizer for veggies is often from animals.
We're done with that for now. And we by the way, we will do a show one time on veganism and that we'll go deeper. We'll talk it from a biological perspective. But so this guy that he's recommending high level is a guy by the name of David Talbot. Okay. Mm-hmm. American researcher David Talbot has uncovered the most information ever on Saturn. Okay, so again, let me just give you guys high-level stuff. All the planetoid are completely changed from when they were before 6,000 years ago. Okay, so if we go back to 4,000 BC in that range, he says that there's tons of data and tons of evidence to indicate that Saturn was the most visible star in the sky. It was the sun. It was Invictus Sol, the sun-souled world of Saturn. So Saturn was this great, easily seen, star. And by the way, they said it was a star. It wasn't a planet. So Saturn was our sun then. And it was an age of abundance. We were in a golden age. And all of the ancient texts and all of the ancient writings indicate that was the case.
That's true.
And then we had the gigantic whatever happened. People talk about the flood. some sort of a geodidetic massive, event. It could have been a comet. It could have been a planet breaking up. He talks about the guy, Emmanuel Velikovsky, the Russian-born physicist who wrote Worlds in Collision, who also decoded what happened. And he said that, so-and-so broke apart and the oceans came down on Earth and fish were falling from the sky. And, there's a lot of stories about that. But the bottom line is that Jupiter and Saturn were the two biggest bodies in the solar system, and they were central to people on Earth. You could see them in the sky. So all the ancient civilizations 6,000 years ago saw Jupiter in the sky. Jupiter and Saturn. And then something happened, and whatever it was, he believes it was an archontic attack, and through electricity and through a bunch of other stuff, moved the planets. And in that point, when they moved the planets, they created the rings on Saturn, and then the rings of Saturn are the perception prison through harmonics, through resonant frequencies that keep us completely controlled. Obviously, the moon is part of it.
Yeah, I like what Robert said yesterday, speculating that Saturn is the broadcast center and the moon is a repeater or an amplifier or whatever.
Saturn is worshipped. So before I get into the whole story real quick, Saturn is worshipped by Satanists and esoterically, astrologically represent control, judgment, restrictions, limitations, death, and decay. Inner circle Satanists and secret society initiates know Saturn as the old sun, black sun, dark lord, and Lord of the Rings. So again, all the stuff in Hollywood.
The black star.
The black star, all of it. The black sun was an occult symbol of the Nazis, and the symbol was depicted on the floor of Whistleblower Castle, which was the spiritual headquarters of the Nazis and Himmler. So this is what he said. This is David's opinion. He says, not only did Saturn fall, meaning fell, so did humanity. So the fall of man, which is not just a purely biblical theme, but was globally universal. Fear and terror from the cataclysmic experience, again, whatever that ELE event was infused into the human energy field. And the hologram, obviously, the simulation, the matrix, and even more significantly, the heavens were rewired. So we have to go back to the foundations of astrology and how planets and stars are information fields on the cosmic internet, the simulation. He calls this simulation the cosmic internet, and exchange their energy, which is information, with the cosmic field. This in turn influences the energetic and perceptual state of everything interacting with those fields, including us.
Absolutely.
So the perceptual energetic impact of the complete rearrangement of the planets and the stars closest to Earth cannot be overstated. Everything changed because the human mind dramatically changed as the perceptual cell door was slammed shut by the archons. So chaos, and that's where we're at still right now today.
That is where we're at today, but at least we're starting to find it out. At least we're starting to be able to let people know about it.
How about this? So there was a book, some guy by the name of Steve Taylor, he says a lecturer in England, The Fall, The Insanity of the Ego, Mind, and Human History and the Dawning of a New Era. He says that before 6,000 years ago, there was no war, there was no male-dominated society, no massive inequality, there were no class systems or organized religion. And there was no, he says he could have added no Satanism or human sacrifice.
Well, Jay, guess what? Up until approximately 6,000 years ago, there was no Abrahamic religion, no Judaism, no Christianity, no Islam.
Exactly. Golden Age. Right. Yeah. So there was one other thing I was going to read about this chapter, and we can shut it down.
Okay. If you have any questions, start throwing them out.
Norman Berggren. Yeah, please. So Norman Berggren, who was this famous NASA, I'll read who he was. So Norman Berggren is a highly distinguished American engineer and research scientist who worked at NASA's Ames Research Center in Moffett Field, California, and its predecessor, the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, and was employed by Lockheed Martin on more than 70 classified research projects.
Wow.
He said that he had the highest level top secret security clearance for 30 years. And during that period, he signed his entire life away, his families, his children, everything.
Wow.
He said he pioneered a number of developments in the fields of aircraft, missiles, and rockets, including roll stability laws. And he won numerous awards, including blah, blah, blah.
Jay, what's Monica reading? Everybody's asking.
What are you reading, Monica? Monica. What are you reading? She's not listening to me.
What is she reading?
Conversations with God.
Oh, okay. Everybody's wanted to know.
That's fine. They're all watching. There's a lot of people. Okay.
Oh, you can see me?
Yes.
Yes, dude.
Oh.
Just don't get naked. I don't want everybody to see that, okay?
Make our ratings go up, but I mean,
You're killing me.
come on, Jay, you can take one for the team. I thought you were committed to growing this broadcast.
You're right. I am committed, man. I love you, man. I got to show you my ticket.
I think
Monica gave me permission. I am coming.
think he loves you more than he loves me.
No, it's not
He actually
true.
does interact with you more often than
She knows. He knows that I'm 40% gay, dude. But I love you more than Jeff. We'll be serious here. So listen. So this is what Berggren realized. He said he realized from the Saturn images that the rings were changing, sometimes in minutes. And he
Yes.
concluded from a range of evidence that the rings were not natural. He went on to compile his findings in the book of Ring Makers. So check this out. So the book, The Ring Makers of Saturn, which if anybody is familiar with or can get, please send it to me. Icke says it's completely out of print and it's changing hands on the internet for thousands of dollars to even get a copy of it.
Wow.
So he said the book was originally based on the Voyager images, but it was increased further when he saw those taken by Cassini. So he actually says that NASA, whatever their disinfo is, completely crashed both of those satellites to not reveal more. And again, I'll just go through the revealing more is that there are gigantic machines inside the rings of Saturn, bigger than Earth.
Somebody was just saying that in the chat room.
Cylindrical electromagnetic vehicles of immense size could clearly be seen inside the rings. He says by immense, this is his own mouth, this advanced NASA guy. By immense, I mean 2 or 3 times bigger than Earth.
Wow.
And
Does
if that,
anybody have Transformers besides me?
dude, he says if that sounds amazing, consider that Earth is an absolute titch compared with Saturn, which is 95 times larger. So Saturn could encompass 764 Earths.
Wow.
He said, so, and you guys have seen this, and I'm sure a lot of our show watchers have seen this too, because people have talked about this. He says, I've seen other accounts of these vehicles now being spotted near the sun. These things.
That's right. Yeah, Wayne has showed some of those.
Yeah. Berggren says people have to understand these things are very real. Remember, this guy's in his 90s now, so he doesn't care if they kill him. Everyone, and by the way, Icke says in the book that all of his known family is now gone. So he doesn't care. So again, this is how they control us, guys.
Yep.
If you work for them at the highest levels, they basically tell you if you ever say anything, you're done, and they'll kill everyone in your family. And so this guy's like, I don't care.
Yep. I'm 90 years old. What do I got to lose?
So he says, and then we'll finish. He says, the vehicles are actually making the rings by spewing out plasma exhaust. And that's why he calls them the ring makers in the title of his book. He said, Saturn was this is Icke. Saturn was hijacked after the gigantic extinction level event cataclysm and turned into an enormous broadcasting system that is delivering information that the human mind decodes as our fake reality.
Are they trying to make rings around Earth?
It gets to that. A simulation within a simulation that we perceive as the real world. Saturn is part of the hack into the original bad copy.
Wow.
That also involves Orion, the moon, and probably much else. He says, look at Saturn's rings and then look at any DVD, CD, or DVD. The rings of Saturn are broadcasting at one level, the 2D projection that some scientists are now talking about, which we decode into 3D holographic illusion.
Yep.
Before anyone screams nonsense, how could they do that? He says, remember that we are dealing with a simulation and not a physical reality.
Right.
So he just says, he goes in to talk about changing the waveform field of the electromagnetics, and you can come up with anything. It says the transformation of Saturn would also explain how the much-loved sun of the Golden Age became associated with control, judgment, and limitation, which is exactly the role of the new Saturn as a broadcaster of the perceptual control matrix. Saturn became possessed, an expression of the demiurgic distortion, and thus a focus for archontic worship as the Black Sun, Dark Sun, and Dark Lords. There you go.
Wow. So I don't know if he gets to this, but I'm just wondering, did the demiurge take out Saturn?
Yep. So the next one says, Saturn is known as the god of space and time and the lord of karma, the recycling energy algorithm or law of cause and effect. Remember the law of cause and effect from the Hermetics. The perception hack created the astrological prison and karma cycle that I described before. There's no recorded mention of a belief in reincarnation until less than 3,000 years ago, Jeff, and it only became widespread much later. There you go.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So this whole reincarnation matrix started when they crashed the original.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yep. It's unbelievable.
A dream within a dream.
A dream within a dream. Yeah. Exactly. A simulation within a simulation.
Crazy.
Now the next chapter we'll get into when we talk again, but the next chapter is it's going into the Pope and Rome and Rothschild and their symbology and all that stuff and how they infected like the elites and how the archons control the elites. It's pretty amazing, dude.
Isn't that the symbol of Saturn that's on that other page?
Well, I mean, there's so many different pictures. The sickle, yeah, that page. Those pages. Can you see it?
No, you were on a different page, and I saw the symbol of Saturn on the right-hand side of the page. It looks like a sigil.
Yeah, the sigil. I saw that too with the guy. Oh yeah, right here.
Yeah, that's the symbol of Saturn right there, ladies and gentlemen. And look at what is that? Oh, that's a cross.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's a cross, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, Rothschild. Yep, the inverted pentagram. I mean, it's all here, dude.
And I've never seen that until tonight. That's crazy. I mean, I've seen it, but I've never conceptually realized that cross is there.
Also, look at that Saturn as the satanic symbol of Baphomet right there.
Oh, it is.
I'm telling you, dude, this book has completely decoded the Matrix.
It has. David Icke is probably the most important living being on the planet right now.
I have to say he is, Jeff. I mean, that's not me and you just blowing smoke up the guy's ass because we're reading this book right now. This is.
I'm willing to blow smoke up his ass if he'll come on this channel.
Well, yeah, exactly. But you know what?
On this channel, he is.
Last night, you and I did not expect that show to take off the way that it did, but it's just like I told you, after we did that show on Monday night, again, YouTube, you know, the conscious expression, they just flashed the Naughty Beaver show right to me, and I just clicked on it, and it was all about David Icke.
Interesting.
He had 25 minutes of David Icke's latest lecture in his video.
Interesting.
And I'm like, and it was all what we were talking about. And I'm like, this is crazy. So, dude, God, the Gnostics, the Galactics, the Benevolence, whoever they are, maybe all of them in combination.
Yep.
Leading people like us down this path right now, dude.
It's true. There are no coincidences.
One of our job is to awaken the people, again, not spiritually violent, practice spiritually violence, but to awaken the people in this community right now to be all on this path, because I feel like when we're all of the awareness. And by the way, I've been reading comments too, like in the Decoders of Truth, and people are really excited about the stuff that we're talking about right now because they feel that we are on the right path. I've seen some really profound stuff written by people, you know, who are not, I would say, you know, honks or wonks of us, just, you know, neutral observers, and they've said some really cool stuff. So I really do feel like we're walking down, or we're being guided down the right path right now.
And we're just getting started, brother.
100%, dude.
We're just getting started. Thanks for coming on, Jay, while you're on the road. I know that you need to get over there and pay attention to that beautiful woman on the bed and forget about us.
You mad at me, Ben?
What's that?
She's not mad at me. No, you're right.
But if I were you, I wouldn't be talking to me. I'd be talking to her.
Yeah, well, you want to get some final words for the audience?
I don't know what are you guys talking about.
It doesn't matter. Just final words for the audience.
Throw some wisdom over here on the way out.
Some divine femininity.
Well, I would just say in this time of gratitude, to just, it's important regardless of what anybody has, like with their family. A lot of people, like, they have this weird feeling about going to visit family, or they feel like they're going to fight or whatever it is. But it's like I was having a conversation with a guy that works with us, and I was telling him how I believe like his baby mama is actually what is going to help him heal. And well, I don't know, she's so negative. And I said, all you have to do is change the way you look at her. And when you come from a different perspective and you actually see the goodness that she is, she'll show up differently for you. And so sometimes it's important to take a look at the people around you and appreciate them for who they are, because there will be a time when those people won't be around any longer. And then people wish they would have treated them differently. So just work on how you're approaching people and how you're being, and show some gratitude, because I think if people were to really look at this day as it's intended to be, which is Thanksgiving, to show thanks. Not that you're impatient that you have to wait somewhere, or impatient that you're not being fed on time, or upset that food's not going, tasting a certain way. I mean, seriously, all that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is the connections that we make, the love that we share with one another. That's what really matters.
Absolutely, Monica. Thank you so much. Very, very well said. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been 2 great hours that we didn't expect. It has been a real blessing, and I'm giving thanks for being with you tonight, Jay, and I hope that you have a great time with your family tomorrow.
Yeah, Jeff, I love you, man. Thank you. And again, to everybody that watched, I mean, geez, we got 331. I think we should just let Monica be on with you.
Exactly.
Monica I will have Monica come on a show with you soon.
I am definitely not as interesting as Jay is, and I understand that.
That's not true.
You're way more interesting than I am. And you come with a lot more energy.
Oh, yeah, you don't have energy?
I do, but
Right.
it's a different dynamic.
Okay, well, I love you, babe.
Joe, love you, brother, nice to see you, and have a good holiday, and I'm sure I'll hear from you soon. And we're ready to rock on Monday night, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have Wayne on. We'll talk tomorrow during Thanksgiving. To everybody, you guys, happy Thanksgiving. Remember what we've been talking about the last couple days. Be calm tomorrow. Do not interject your personal opinion or your attitude. Just be there. Give them your energy, love, forgiveness, and celebrate turkey.
Absolutely. Just don't be a dick tomorrow.
Exactly.
And don't talk about The Last Stand or David Icke. Just be there. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So
We'll
nice.
talk about The Last Stand. Yep, exactly.
All right, Jay. Nice to see you, brother. Love you. We'll see you again. We'll talk tomorrow.
Hey, man, love you. Take care. Have a good night.
And everybody in the chat room, nice to see you. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll look forward to seeing you again real soon. Remember, we're the last generation of real humans. Let's get busy.
Guys, take care. Love you, brothers.